Sahana Bhavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Saha Viryam Karavavahai Tejasvinnavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Verse 9. Jnāgnau dvāvaja
Jnāgnau dvāvaja
Vishanisha-vaja
Vishanisha-vaja
Eka bhoktru-bhogyartha-yukta
Eka bhoktru-bhogyartha-yukta
Anantaschatma vishvarupo hyakarta
Anantaschatma vishvarupo hyakarta
Trayam yada vindate brahmametat
Trayam yada vindate brahmametat.
They are very involved, these verses are, That's why so much time is not doesn't move. Where are you? Verse number 9. Where were you last week? Verse number 9. Where were you last week? 8.5. Like this. Very involved. Each one is like a treatise because these are all Mahavakyas and they contain in them very secret messages. Secret because if just on reading them you don't understand. And they contain very very deep, profound rahasya, the secret of crossing the ocean of samsara, First the secret in number 8 was revealed, why is there bondage? That one we understood. So badhyate, bhoktrubhavat badhyate. So the identification with the agentship leads to what? Bandhana. What is bandhana? Freedom, correct?
No.
Bondage. And then when you know you are not the doer or not the victim or the agent, then actually when you don't identify as the victim, then what? There is moksha. Moksha means freedom. And that freedom is seen as the ultimate pursuit in this life because whatever else the person wants is really that. And sometimes that desire for that freedom is muted into other desires. Thinking, because we transfer the infinite onto finite objects. The desire for the infinite is morphed into the desire for finite objects, and this is what is called ajnanam, ignorance. And so that we were told in verse number 8 a long time ago. Then comes the $1 trillion question. How do I do this? It's easy to say don't identify as a victim. Yeah, right. Yeah, sure. How long I won't identify as a victim? As long as the things are going my own way, there is no need to identify as a victim because I can happily victimize other people and make sure that everything is going my way. And then suddenly karma intervenes, correct? Yeah. Karma intervenes means what? My identification with the karta in previous lifetimes or previous year or previous, whatever, kalpa, yuga, doesn't matter. My identification with the karta gave these karma phalas, these results of action which are coming now. So you see how the bhokta and the karta are intertwined. Very much. Like like Maya's knitting needle, we have we have in the knitting, I don't know knitting that much, okay, I don't hardly know anything, but there are these two basic stitches. One is called knit and one is called pearl. Yeah. So this knit and pearl, karta, bhokta. So Maya keeps alternating this and pretty much, like this she does that. And very soon the jiva wears this sweater and says, oh, I feel claustrophobic, I feel like a samsari, get me out, let me out. How to unwind this sweater, Children like to do that. You keep the knitting, yeah. I'm told I used to do that as a child. I used to go and it makes that very delicious texture. So fun, so nice, so meditative. And then very soon you have this magic. What is this magic? That which was a well knit piece of fabric is just a bundle of, lies basically. And so too with Maya, as we are going to find out in this verse. So this well knit Jagat with all the cause and effect and tree and seed and this and that and everything is tightly knit together. Knit and pearl and this, everything. And then what? The knowledge makes it unravel. Yeah. And pretty much you're holding the formless Brahman, the skein of Brahman that is knit into a sweater, really. And so here, that is the whole idea here, is to get out of this victimhood. And how to get out of this victimhood? The formula is given in number 9. And it is done in a very unique way. It is this you won't find in any other Upanishad. This is so beautifully done. So he says, the sage here says, there are, 2 things. There are 3 things actually in this Jagat. One is what called, let us call it Jna. I am looking at the verse now. Jna. What is Jna? Jnaha. Janati iti Jnaha. The one who knows. Correct? Who is the one who knows? Certainly not the Jiva. Correct? So who is the one who knows? If it's not Jiva, who is it? Ishvara. Okay? Ishvara is the one who knows. Correct? So out of Jiva and Ishvara, who is the one who knows? Ishvara is the one. So then, if the one who knows is Ishvara, what is Jiva? But the same thing, the one who doesn't know. That's the next word. Ajnaha. Jnaha plus Ajnaha. Jna, Jnau. And Jna, Jnau, like Ramo. Together you join the 2 words and then you make it 1 word. Why? Because really speaking, this is the grammatical secret. It has become Dvandva Samasa, Samahara Dvandva, where the 2 words have become one, a particular compound. And it is directly speaking to the fact that the Jna and Ajna are actually one. You see? So there's only one declension. So Ramaha Ramau. So Jnaha, Ajnaha, Ajnau, Jna, Jnau. Together. Jna, Jnau. Yeah. Jna, Jnau. It's like Ramau. It has become 1 word. But actually, if you look at it carefully, there are 2 words hiding there. Jna and Ajna. Jna is Ishvara, the all-knowing one, the one without a trace of ignorance. And Ajna is who? Yours truly, Jiva. Jiva is the Ajna. Or in any, Ajna here doesn't mean just ignorant, means wanting, just doesn't know anything. What is this?
A flower.
Yeah. Why does it have this particular shape?
I
don't know. And why is this one a different color and that one that? Why is this petal like this and that petal is like this? I don't know. This is the Jiva's trademark, Ajna. Anything you ask, I don't know. And then this is the most true in the field of medicine. There are all these new diseases. They are not called diseases, they are called syndromes. Yeah, they come in drones. And they are called syndromes. And then you start asking, and you go to the doctor and the doctor will say, you have this autoimmune something syndrome. Okay, how come I have it? Well, we have observed that people between 40 and 50 get this. Okay, but why do people between 40 and 50 get this? We don't know. They won't say that. They'll say, well, research is still going on that. That has not yet been determined. So how to get rid of this? Well, there is no cure for it either. Meaning they don't know the cause. And how to get rid of it, the effect also they don't know. Yeah. Upaya, they don't know. And why this apaya, means this stupid thing came to this person, one doesn't know. Everything is a don't know. There are so many more don't knows than I know. Correct? So this is Ajnaha. So Jna, Jnau, Dvau. And who are they is explained. Dvau is there. Dvau plus ajau becomes what? Dvabajau. Dvabajava. So dvau, ajau. So both of them are unborn. This is a big claim, you know. Ajau means unborn. And it is in the dual because we are referring to two people. Gyagyau, dvau, ajau. Both of them are unborn. Well, you know, speak for yourself. One can tell Ishvara. Because I have a birth date. Oh, you have a birth date? Yes, I have a birth date. You can speak. You can say Ishvara is not born. Doesn't matter. But I know I was born. I have a birth date. Oh, when is your birth date? April 1st. This person came and said, April 1st. I said, no need to say April 1st. If I look at you only, I know it is April 1st. You know, April 1st. And the person is saying this with a serious face. I was born. This is a mythical story, okay? Just a made-up story to show the point. I was born on April 1st. I have a horoscope to prove it. None of the planets which should be in the correct positions are in the correct positions. The Saturn is sitting on top of, you know, Shukra. Who is Shukra? Venus, the money-making planet. Yeah. That is why, you know, the person attracts a lot of money but goes to somebody else. Attracts a whole lot of money but goes to somebody else. What is their job? Fundraiser. Yeah. You know, they handle lots of money, they put lots of events, they rake in everything and they have to give it to somebody else. Bank teller, you know, fundraiser, financial officer of some organization. Saturn is sitting. See, all this shows I was born. Before that, this wasn't there. Really speaking, nothing in the universe is born. That I think I was born is the greatest delusion ever. Yeah. Nothing in the universe is born. What to talk of Jiva? No, but the body is born. Well, even the body is not born because the DNA was already there, correct? That's why they can unearth something that they found in the ice, somewhere in Siberia. And then they say the bones that were found of some foremother. And they names these bones Lucy because they found out that it's a woman's skeleton, a prehistoric woman's skeleton. And so they named the bones Lucy. And they said this Lucy is one of the 5 matriarchs of the whole human civilization. How can they do that? That means that your body is connected to Lucy somehow, correct? So how can you say my body was born? Lucy was already there. Before Lucy there must have been some juicy, something was. Somebody was already there. And before all that, there were humanoids were there, monkeys were there, gorillas, chimpanzees, macacas, so many varieties, langurs, so many varieties were there. Before that, dinosaurs were there, prehistoric things were there, matter was there. So how can you say that even the body is born? Because there is nothing new in this body. The 5 elements are there. The 5 elements come on. Is that new? They are as old as the hills, older than the hills. The 5 elements were there. Water was there, air was there, space was there. Everything was there. So this is just an assemblage. Just like what? Pot. Much less the pot can say, I was born of clay. And I'm missing clay. And then it composes some sad songs. Clay. Darshan kab doge? When will you give darshan? I am lost in the ignorance of samsara. I'm churning and turning and fumbling and mumbling and grumbling. Save me, oh clay. Who is praying? Clay. You see? Yeah. Jnau, dvau. Both of them are what? Ajau. So the body is not born. This much has been established. So, but what about the jiva? The body is not even born because then we can trace everything to the grandfather, great-grandfather, and you can say the nose is like the mother and the eyes are like the father. How can you say all this? Because there is that inheritance is going on. It's an endless inheritance, starting with Lucy and Juicy, all those people. So the body is not born. Okay. And who is the jiva? The indweller of the body. This is the, this is the eager beaver Vedanta student who has been memorizing a few definitions. Yeah. So the indweller of the body. Okay, the indweller of, if the body itself is not born, how can the indweller be born? Right? So the indweller of the body you cannot say is born. Because what is the jiva? What is the definition of jiva? Come on. I have told you this many times. So this is a quiz time. What is jiva?
Sentient.
Yes. But there is a certain specialty for this sentient being. It's not just any sentient being.
The one who identifies with the mind.
With the one who is endowed with the upadhi of ignorance. Yeah. Upadhi means the characteristics of ignorance. The one who is endowed with ignorance is jiva. Don't forget this. This is an important definition. Yeah. That's why I don't even say jiva. I say piva. The one who has so many peeves. I want this is jiva. So the one who is endowed with ignorance is jiva. So here you are contradicting yourself. Really? How am I contradicting myself? You said the jiva is not born. Yes? So then how did the jiva get endowed with ignorance? There must have been a beginning point where the ignorance started and the jiva caught the ignorance like one catches the flu. Right? Wrong. According to the Upanishad anyway. Why? Because you cannot say ignorance has a beginning. You try to trace the beginning of ignorance and it will shift and play hopscotch and just hide behind something and you will not be able to trace it. You can trace the origin of Ganga. Even that you cannot trace because people go on pilgrimage to find the origin of the rivers. They cannot find. They go to Gangotri, they go everywhere, they go to Rudraprayag, they go to Karnaprayag, they go all the way to Badrinath. Still the Ganga keeps flowing, flowing, flowing. The origin is a mystery. So too, just like the perennial Ganga, the ignorance you cannot say has a beginning. If you say ignorance has a beginning, we get into some very tricky situation Vedanta wise and you don't want to be there. Like for example, if ignorance has a beginning, then the logical question is what was there before ignorance? Then what do you say? Knowledge. If knowledge was there before ignorance and ignorance replaced knowledge, and here we are studying the Shvetashvatara Upanishad in order to what? Dispel the ignorance and gain knowledge, then nobody will come to class. Why? We'll have to pack up. Because what is the guarantee that this knowledge will not be replaced by ignorance at some future date? That is one of the very big risks we take in trying to make a claim that ignorance has a beginning. Ignorance cannot have a beginning. And also even on a relative level, ignorance cannot have a beginning. Supposing you were to tell me, I did not know that I was Brahman. You see? I did not know, meaning I was ignorant of the fact that there was a possibility of me being Brahman. So you see, before that I did not know. That means what? The ignorance came just now. Until I met you and started to study. Started to study Vedanta. I didn't have ignorance. And now the ignorance has come because I don't know Brahman. Yeah. But do you know that you don't know Brahman? Yes, unfortunately I know that I don't know Brahman. So then if you know that you don't know Brahman, where is the ignorance? There is only knowledge. Where is the ignorance? I know that I don't know. That means all there is this self-shining consciousness that sheds the light on even this silly little ignorance of a particular thing. Here it's a ignorance of what? Your own nature. That's what it is. So that's why in the methodology of the teaching, there is no knowledge that is replaced or poured into. You know, sometimes in certain situations when there are some stroke or something like that, they have to do this surgery where they drill into the head. And the drilling the knowledge into the head, there is nothing, it's already you are the whole. I cannot alter that. Even Bhagavan cannot alter that. This is how it is. You are the whole. But that is not understood. There is a certain covering, a patina, which is what is called ignorance. And it has, although it has no beginning, it definitely has an end. And once it has an end, you cannot pretend to not know. You cannot pretend to be ignorant. So even if I were to tell you, please have car ignorance, then what will happen? Then you will say, okay, what do I have to be ignorant of? Car. Okay, the car has already shown in the mind as an object of thought, right? So I have to say, I know car, right? So this exercise is bekar. Bekar means useless. So this exercise is useless to say, I'm going to be ignorant of car. It's just a pretense. It's like that story I think I've told you. One man went to a Swami who was a great healer. Not the man, the Swami. And the man said, I want this mantra that you have, oh Swami. Swamiji, I want this mantra that you have that can heal people, and can you please do it? The Swami said, okay, I'll give you the mantra. He gave him the mantra and the man went away, thanked him and went away. And then suddenly the Swami found out through somebody else that this person does not have very good intentions. He was plotting to misuse the mantra for his own self-gain, which is not done. So the Swami said, call him back, I will make sure that this mantra will not work. And so what happened, that man came back and the Swami simply said, I forgot to tell you one thing. When you think of the mantra, when you start reciting the mantra after bath in the morning, don't think of monkey. Yeah. Because if you think of monkey, then what will happen? The mantra will not work. So he said, I never think of monkeys. That's the last thing on my mind. But this Swami is also so stupid. Stupid Swami telling me not to think of things that I never think of. So the next day morning he took a bath and put some vibhuti stripes, made himself look like a zebra, and then what? Went to the river to pray, lit a lamp, and he said, okay, what should I not think of? Monkey. I can't say the mantra now because even if I chant the mantra, it will not work. And then he said, okay, I'll try after evening bath. After evening bath, he had to, think of what to not think of. So that means what? You can never, once you know, you can never pretend to be ignorant. Thank God. Yeah. So now, the jiva is unborn, correct? Yeah. Ignorance also is unborn. Jiva is unborn, therefore. And then what about Ishvara? Now this is the children love to ask this question. They will say, when was Ishvara born? Although we celebrate birthdays for Rama, Krishna and all the avatars, we celebrate the birthdays of them having taken a form on earth, just like Jesus' birthday. December 25th, like that, we have a date. But what is born is the body, mind, sense complex, which has no ignorance, which has complete knowledge. But we are not celebrating the birth of Ishvara. You see what I am saying? Yeah. We are celebrating the day Ishvara decided to walk on the earth. We are celebrating the continuation of Ishvara in a particular form, in a particular way. So that is really how all birthdays are. So the birthday for Ishvara is what? Every day, every minute, Because it is all new, ever new, always there. That is why the word for Ishvara in the Veda and the Bhagavatam is Purana. Pura eva navacha, that which is ancient and which is ever new. So there is no starting point. And then we have the skeptic who says, how do you know? You can just sit here and say Ishvara was not born. But how I will believe? What says? What is the proof that says Ishvara is Aja? Aja means not born. What is the proof? You are here, correct? And you never come to an end. And nothing in this universe comes to an end. Nothing in this universe, you can ever say has a beginning, because the beginning is always hidden, mysterious. And so what about the conscious being who is observing everything? How can you say that that had a beginning? The observer of everything cannot have a beginning. And the real proof is in the words of the Shastra, which is the means of knowledge to understand Ishvara. Ishvara is not an object of deduction or inference. When we were small, we used to have all these logical things. One of them I remember. All men are mortal. Socrates was a man. Therefore what? Socrates was a mortal. You don't need to say that. For Ishvara. We already know this. Why? Because Ishvara is not an object of deduction. It is the nature of the subject revealed by a special means of knowledge called Upanishad, which we are studying. So, the proof is here. It says Ajaha, Ishvaraha, Ajaha it says. Unborn it says right here. So now how many things are unborn? 2 things are unborn. Who are they? Jiva and Ishvara. Jiva is not born. Ishvara is also not born. Really speaking, Jiva is Ishvara. Jiva minus ignorance is Ishvara alone. There is only one thing. But since we are coming from a particular place of duality, and that has to be slowly eroded and dismantled, so we will take it into consideration that there is a triad, correct? So one is Jiva. Who is this Jiva? Oh, woe is me, right? This is the Jiva. Karta, Bhokta. Endowed with ignorance. Endowed with a body of ignorance. Then we have Ishvara, all-knowing, endowed with knowledge, not a whiff of ignorance. Both of them unborn. So what is left out? If you have covered Jiva, if you have covered Ishvara, kya bacha hai? Jagat. Jagat means what? Yeah, the universe. The universe, which is, so we have Bhokta, the experiencer, and then we have what? Bhogya, Vastu Bhogya. That which is an object of experience has been left out in this discussion. The Jagat. Correct? Now the Jagat is born or unborn? That's a safe answer to say, if Jiva was not born, if Ishvara is free of birth, then Jagat also let us tick and say unborn. But Big Bang, Yeah. What Big Bang? Big Bang is talking about a particular manifestation. That's why it says space is a manifestation, time is a manifestation. Manifestation of what? Manifestation of Ishvara, really. No other thing. And even if you take some other cosmologies, you have so many religious cosmologies. All of them really, you cannot see the beginning of the universe, you cannot really understand. And the reason you cannot understand it is because that beginning is mithya. It is not absolute. It's a relative explanation of how things came into being. Absolutely speaking, the Jagat is non-separate from Ishvara. Just like your dream. The Jagat being non-separate from Ishvara. If Ishvara is unborn, the Jagat cannot be born. Yeah, like even the pot is non-separate from clay. So you can say the pot, when was the pot born? You can say that the pot was born on April 1st. Correct? You can say that. But really speaking, what was born was the form and the name, the word and the meaning called pot, right? Because the pot is not an entity that is separate from clay. So from the standpoint of clay, has there any birth that has taken place? No. From the standpoint of pot, from the name and form called pot, we can have pot 1, pot 2, pot 3 is not wanting to come out. We won't. Yeah, it is going to stay unborn, but you can see it is hiding there. It's about to be manifest. So from the standpoint of the clay, there is no clay 1, clay 2. How many clays?
1.
1. Yeah, 1 clay. But then, how many pots?
Many.
Many pots. Yeah, here. Many pots. Many pots. Finger pots. Yeah. These had gone for a visit. Now they have come back. You see, so many pots, so little time. This is what the whole situation is. It's beautiful. So many pots. So when was this one born? When was that one born? When was this one born? When was that one born? When were all of them born? This is just a play, correct? Yeah. This is just a play of separation. You know, this is just a play of separation. Somebody had a lot of time and they sat and crafted these sweet little things. And then somebody else gave it to me. That's how it is. And so it's a magic. How they made it even is magic here. And so when we replace the pots with all the names and forms included in the Jagat. Replace the pots with, everything moving and unmoving in the Jagat. You have a similar situation. So the Jagat is what? Unborn. And when we say Jagat, what are we talking about? We are talking of a particular Shakti of Bhagavan. We are talking of the goddess Shakti, the feminine principle. Mother Maya, that is what we are talking about. And she is a very slippery lady, shady lady. I have called her before. You cannot objectify Maya. And then, you know why else she is very slippery? Because then, if the Jagat is a product of Maya, then was Maya born or unborn? What is the answer? Unborn. Oh, everything you say unborn. You are in the safe zone. Yeah. Unborn, why? Because she is he. He is she. There is no separation. That's why all the devatas in the Hindu tradition are happily married. Yeah. We don't have any kind of a belief that God is he. We don't say that. When there is something to manifest, like even one's own dream, or like this whole Jagat, which is akin to Bhagavan's dream, you can say that. When there is something to manifest, what happens? She leans forward. And when it is time to just be, there is nothing to manifest, when it's a potential, he sits back. He sits back, she leans forward. Yeah. She leans forward, we say, oh, a new species has been discovered. Oh, now it is born. Oh, now it is gone. It is all this Shakti which belongs to him, which is non-separate from him. So he and she, it is just a matter of, because it is the creative power involved, we say she. That's the only reason. Because there is creation involved. And creation is associated with the feminine principle, the birth of things. So, in terms of when we look at this whole Ishvara from the point of view of the intelligence, we say he. When we look at it from the point of view of the material, which brings this intelligence to life, we say she. So the Maya is also unborn. So now there are three things which are unborn. Let us review them. Who are they? Number one,
Ishvara.
Ishvara is unborn. Number two,
Maya.
Jiva. And then the Jagat, which is the cause of which is Maya, also unborn. These three are unborn. So there are three things which are unborn. This is just the first line. Then the second line dismisses that and says, actually they are one. You count three, but really speaking what? Eka. Eka. So the Maya is one with Ishvara, one with the Jagat, really speaking. So we are given a caveat in line 2. Don't consider Maya as a third thing here. Because Maya is one with Ishvara. And it's also one with Jiva in the form of ignorance. The same Maya manifests. So here, reduce it for the sake of sanity to only two things. What is that? Bhogya, Bhogyartha, Bhogta and Bhogya. Bhogta, the consumer, and then the objects of consumption. So myself, the Jiva, and then all these things that are there, these fields of experiences, things to eat, things to drink, things that are separate from me, which I experience. This is what is called Bhogya. Okay? Bhokta and Bhogya. So these are all together. You know, these are the ones that are hopelessly entangled together. And so the conscious subject is unborn, and the one who is identified with the conscious subject, who is identified with all knowledge, all power, that one is also unborn, and the power of this conscious entity called Ishvara is also unborn. So then, having said that, the Upanishad says is that the one who is engaged in bringing about these myriad connections between the enjoyer and the enjoyment, experiencer and the objects of experience, is the shady lady who is one with Ishvara. Correct? So then why discuss her? Because she is the one who throws the curved ball of ignorance from the point of view of what makes a jiva. She who is all knowledge and all power for Ishvara translates into all ignorance from the point of view of jiva. She endows the jiva with ignorance and endows Ishvara with all knowledge. But this is not fair. This is not fair that Ishvara has all knowledge and Jiva is endowed with ignorance because of this Maya. Well, therefore what? Therefore lose the ignorance. Yeah. Ignorance is mithya. It is not absolute anyway. We are talking of a relative understanding to give the answer to why I feel separate from the whole. Why is there a sense of separation? That is the only reason the Maya is brought in. And in the last verse she was referred to as Devatma Shakti. And so therefore what? Last verse or the verse before that, Devatma Shakti. And here the same Shakti is brought in to show that she is the one casting a pall, casting a certain gloom over the Jiva while making Ishvara the form of shining intelligence. But then we have to add a very important two words. What are they? As though gloom, as though shining, as though separation, as though union. There is really no separation. So this is just like the pot appears small and big. Why? Because it is an as though modification of clay, correct? Yeah. So the unborn pot, the born pot, the not willing to be born pot, all of them, all of them, they have this separation, and the separation itself causes the anxiety called ignorance. And if I don't identify with the separation, then there is only one. Identifying with the separation, one grieves. And that is what the next two verses are going to talk about. Let us look at them. Anantah cha Atma Vishwarupaha He Akarta. He means indeed. Akarta, the non-doer. Vishwarupaha, of the nature of the whole universe, including its cause. Vishwarupaha, and of the nature of the entire universe, including its cause. And then Anantaha means limitless. So what is the self? The self is it Jiva? No. Is it ignorant? No. Is it endowed with ignorance? No. The self is Atma. Atma here means I. So what is this I? Anantaha. The Atma is limitless. Anantascha, and here doesn't mean and, therefore. And what is the therefore? First we had three things that were unborn, which we reduced to two. The conscious subject and then all the objects that come to light because of the subject. Correct? And all that is reduced to one because all there is the conscious subject. The objects are as though. So now we have reduced to one. And this one is who? Therefore, this one is Anantaha, limitless. How limitless? Space-wise, limitless. Time-wise, limitless. Object-wise, limitless. Because there are three forms of limitations. Deshataha, Kalataha, Vastutaha. Three forms of limitations. So space-wise, limitless. How do you know space-wise limitless? Because the Atma that is in you is the Atma that is in me. Yeah. So, but I see you. So that means I'm seeing my Atma. No, you see what? My body you see. You see the body of the Swami. Supposing you can say, I can read your mind. How? How can you read my mind? I know that you're going to give out chocolates. I read your mind. Still, what are you objectifying when you say I'm going to give out chocolates? What are you objectifying? You're objectifying the mind, which is an object anyway. Yeah. So that's why all this telepathy and all is, yeah, it's pathological, because why you want to read other people's thoughts? Most of the time they have really boring thoughts. What should I do? What should I have? Why my life is only like that? This is the kind of thoughts. Why you want to read their thoughts? It's a big headache. Already your own life, you can barely handle. And then you want to read other people's thoughts. And people go to some workshops also. Mind reading workshop. Save your money, really. So I say come to Vedanta class because they are free. So you don't have to pay. So therefore what? So Anantaha means free of all these constrictions. So when you read my mind, you are not reading the Atma. You are not objectifying the Atma. You cannot objectify the Atma because the Atma in me is the same as the Atma in you, is identical. There is only one. Like even saying the clay in this pot is the same as the clay in that pot. So when I objectify pot from the standpoint of the pot cannot objectify the clay from the pot's point of view. Yeah, that is what it is. So there is only one subject. Even grammatically you see, there is only one subject. Third person, you say he, she, it, he, she, so many. They, it. The second person, you. And if you are from the south, what will you say? Y'all. Even that has a plural. Then you come to the first person, which is what? I. There's only one I. Yeah. You can say we and all that, it's different, but there's really only one I. I. Grammatically also there is one I. There's only one conscious subject. So there is no limitation. So my form, my form means the form with which I identify, this upadhi with which I identify. Even though it may look very different from the upadhi of other people sitting in the universe, sitting in this room, wherever, or sitting in some other universe, doesn't matter, sitting in some other planet, it may look very different. But still what? The I is one and the same. The I is one alone. So therefore, space-wise, limitless. Time-wise also limitless, because when did the I begin? If you say I began, like I said, April 1st I was born. You make a fool of yourself if you say that like I did. Correct? Because really speaking, there is nothing that is born. What is born? When is it born? How is it born? Birth is just an apparition. Death is just an apparition. So you say as though born, and we are really dealing with just the level of word, verbiage. That's all it is. A lot of verbiage. Like garbage. Verbal garbage, verbiage. All the words in the universe used to describe these distinct differences, just verbiage. Nothing more. Yeah. So anantaha, space-wise, time-wise, object-wise, because it's all forms are just that one, formless entity inhabiting, as it were, all forms without undergoing any change in and of itself. So profound. So anantascha atma. So therefore the atma is limitless. And therefore what? Vishvarupaha. Vishvameva rupam yasya. The one that has lent its being to, which is the truth of the entire universe. It has lent its being to the whole universe. Like for example, if I say flower is, I told you before, flower is, fragrance is, does the word existence, the flower exists. That's what I mean by saying flower is, correct? Mm-hmm. So the existence, does it belong to the flower? No, it cannot. Because if I keep holding it, I cannot say flower is anymore. Yeah. Why? After 2 days of sitting like this, it will become compost is. The point is that the is never goes away. Flower is, compost is, then fertilizer is, then another rose is. So the is continues. It just keeps changing forms. How beautiful. Yeah. So the is, when I say flower exists, the isness does not belong to the flower. Then who does it belong to?
Atma.
Ishvara. What are the first two letters of Ishvara?
Yes.
Is. How can you forget that? What is the first letter of Ishvara? I. That is finally I. And all is. No quiz here. All is, belong to Ishvara. The is, there is only one is. It belongs to Ishvara. And so something is. And then if I say something comes to light, it shines. It comes to light because everything has certain characteristics. It is, it comes to light, meaning it is knowable. It comes to light. Meaning what? It has a certain sentience, whatever it is, it shines. It shines. So if I say it shines, the shine also does not belong to the object. It belongs to who? The subject, Ishvara. And so therefore, nothing here in this universe is without the presence of Ishvara. So if you want to look for Ishvara, where should you look?
Everywhere.
Wherever you look, there is Ishvara. Yatra yatra mano yati, tatra tatra tava pada pankajam. A saint was there. It's a very beautiful story. Of course, they didn't know he was a saint. He was just lying down wearing some rags in the middle of the road. And the priest came, Pujari came. Pujari here full of rules. This we should do, that we shouldn't do, High scholar, very scholarly and erudite. And this saint happened to be sleeping just in the temple quadrangle. They have a courtyard outside. And he was sleeping there. And this Pujari went. He had to do some cleanup in the temple. The Pujari saw that the sleeping man's feet were against a small Shiva, which was there, a Shivalinga that was there at the end. Just a small shrine, outdoor shrine. And the Pujari was incensed. No pun intended. Yeah. So the Pujari was very upset. Pujari said, this idiot is sleeping with the legs facing Bhagavan. I'm going to wake him up. And he shook him rudely and he says, hey, old man, you are violating, you cannot have the feet, which is the lowest form of the body, be facing God. And here is the outdoor shrine of Shiva, and here you are facing your feet. If you really have no other place to sleep, fine. But sleep, turn your body and sleep the other way so that your feet are not facing Shiva. And the old man said, Beta, my son, I'm really old and tired. I've just roamed around all day for my food, begging for my food. And just let me sleep. He says, no, this is my temple. I'm caretaker of this temple. I cannot let you do that. He says, okay, you do one thing. You just move my body wherever you feel that there is no Bhagavan. And, that way you will be happy. And, this itself was a very suspicious offer. He should have understood something is funny. So he said and in America there is something which I really like. There's this, in order to describe the position, they say 6 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 9 o'clock, yeah. So from 12 o'clock he shifted him to 6 o'clock, correct? He turned the legs around and put him in the 6 o'clock position. And then what happened? The shrine also moved. The shrine morphed into two. There was two shrines, this way and that way. And he said, oh, what is this? I don't remember this shrine at all. I could have sworn that there was no shrine here. What happened over here? Then he moved from 6 o'clock to 3 o'clock. Correct? And then what happened? Another shrine sprang up this side. Then from 3 o'clock to 9 o'clock. And then on that other side also at 9 o'clock, another, shrine sprung. And pretty much he understood who is the student and who is the teacher in this situation. And he fell at the feet of the saint and he said, this we have all heard in the Upanishads. But I just forgot about that. I did not internalize this knowledge. And he said, please teach me. And he said, you've just had your first lesson. So, you just had your first lesson. That no part of this place is profane. Everything is sacred. Every being is sacred. Everything that we don't even say has a being is sacred. Every conscious being is sacred. Every non-moving thing is sacred. Every insentient thing is sacred. All there is Ishvara. It's one big party of Ishvara. There is nothing other than that. And that Ishvara is revealed as what? Aham, I. Yeah. The first letter of Ishvara is I. That is why this is taking so long, because you have to understand all these nuances. So when I give up the tatters of ignorance, when I give the sweater back to Maya, and I'll say that this is just the skein of Brahman. The skein is just Brahman, and you have just made it into a sweater. That's why it's called a sweater. Because the jiva sweats in it. Yeah, the jiva puts these tattered rags on called sweater and sweats in it. Knit 1, pearl 1, knit 2, pearl 2. And then very soon, what? Takes everything as real, feels a sense of bondage, feels horrible. And then, how to take off the sweater. You don't have to take off the sweater. Just stop sweating. That's all. Don't identify with the sweater. Know that cognitively you can unravel the sweater. Through the teaching, through the understanding, the foothold and the fancies of ignorance will loosen like the clods of earth and fall away, revealing the self-shining Brahman, that is you, which is Ishvara. So Anantascha Atma, Vishwarupaha, and this Vishwarupaha, the one who is in the form of the universe, is the doer, correct? No. But it says Karta, right? No. He plus Akarta, Hyakarta, Akarta. Akarta means?
Non-doer.
Doesn't do anything. No, but there are so many things. Who is doing then? Ishvara is not doing, correct? Yeah. Brahman is not doing. Then Atma, which is revealed as Ishvara, which is Brahman, is also not doing. Then who is doing? Who is doing? Tell me.
Nobody's doing.
Nobody is doing. But then who is cooking? If you say, I am akarta, then how are you going to eat? Who is cooking? Who is cleaning? Who is, carrying the lunch box? Who is going to work? Who is coming back from work? It's not Jiva, it's not Ishvara, then who is left?
Prakriti.
Prakriti. So therefore, anything connected to Prakriti, I told you, you have to use two words. What are they?
Shakti.
As though.
Mm.
As though. As though doing, as though sleeping, as though meditating seriously, as though getting disturbed, as though meditating back again, as though eating, as though Pashyan, Shrinvan, Swapan, Shvasan. Bhagavad Gita says, Naiva kurvanna karyan. Neither doing nor getting it done. The Atma is just Nischala, unmoving, not the doer. So the doership is a falsehood, is a superimposition upon the Atma, is an attribute that is superimposed upon the Atma, like the glazed pot. The glaze is a superimposition upon the clay. The doership is a superimposition upon the Atma, like the ornament is a superimposition upon the gold. The enjoyership or the experiencership is a superimposition upon that Atma which is not a Karta, which is therefore not a Bhokta. When you say Bhokta, Karta is coming already. Because who is doing Bhoga? The Karta. I do now and then I reap later. Correct? So when you say reaper of Karma Phala, the Karta is already coming. And when you say Karta, the Bhokta will come. So therefore, each of them stand for the other. So there is no doer. So whenever you do something, you have to tell yourself, I'm as though doing. And that becomes very hard. So therefore, a better idea is given in the form of Karma Yoga. You attribute the doership to who? Ishvara. You consciously displace the doing onto Ishvara. That is why you see Ishvara becomes so important in Vedanta. Without Ishvara, there is no Vedanta. Cannot be. You have to settle these accounts. Without prayer, without worship, without devotion, in whatever form you may define devotion, there is no Vedanta. It will not come. You have to have that. And so therefore what? So therefore here the prayer is, that's why all forms of prayer are valid. Because they loosen this foothold that I am the doer. They loosen the foothold of this thought that I am the doer. And the thought causes havoc in one's sanity. Because if I am the doer, I am plagued with guilt. If I am the victim of doing, then I am plagued with hurt. So guilt, hurt, guilty, hurty. And like I said, guilty marries hurty. Guilty keeps apologizing. Hurty is never enough for hurty. The one who is hurt always wants more and more apologies. That's why it's a very successful marriage. Bhagavan makes sure of it. So therefore what? So therefore I have to make certain that I see the truth of this. That I am not the doer. And I am as though doing. And so therefore we say, Bhagavan, make me your instrument. So I transfer the doership quickly, like we used to play the game passing the parcel. And there was some parcel, some pillow also, if nothing was available, and somebody was, playing some music, they would not be seeing the people in the circle. And then when the music stops, whoever is stuck with a parcel had to forfeit something. You had to either give up something or you had to do something embarrassing in front of the whole circle. Like this, you had a little punishment. So nobody wanted to be caught with this parcel. That is what Kartritvam and Bhoktritvam, this parcel is like. You don't want to be caught with it. Why? Because you have to forfeit your freedom. If you are caught with thinking, if you are caught with doership, you forfeit your freedom. You forfeit moksha. So what to do? Quickly put it on Bhagavan. You transfer it to Bhagavan's lap. And you say, I am not the doer. He, she is the doer. And you just walk away and say, whatever comes, okay, Bhagavan has given. This is an interim step to understanding I am not the doer. Because you cannot expect to suddenly be there when when one is still sort of counting the duality. one still has to have a little baby step. So this is generally, and this is going to be discussed later, this is generally described as the baby step. Finally, the last line, Trayam yada vindate brahmametat. So, Trayam yada vindate, when these three things, what are the three things? Please tell me again.
Ishvara, Jiva and Maya.
Yeah, when they are known as one, the person is able to say, I am not the doer. When they are known as one, the person is free of doership, agentship, every ship. Right? Yeah. And so, when is it going to be known as one? Through this study. And the next one is going to talk about the difference between Ishvara and Maya, and how, and it's going to go deeper into that. Very beautiful section is coming up. And we are going to take a break because of my travel, but after that we will have an overdose of Vedanta. We are going to have a 1 month course right here. I just finished the syllabus. I'm very happy with it. And so Shvetashvatara will continue on Tuesdays. Kathopanishad will continue on Wednesdays. And then there is 5 tracks for getting the certificate. And this time we are having, 2 Sanskrit classes. One basic one with the alphabets, which Harinder doesn't know yet, but she will teach. And then the other one, beginning one, I will teach. So you can all enroll for that. If you go to the website, the details are given. You can also take it, online. Although if you are living in Eugene, it's preferred you come here. It's much better. But supposing you cannot, you can take it online. All right. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamadachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om. This class will resume. This particular class is going to resume on June 25th. Tuesday, June 25th. So we are taking an exactly 1 month break, 4-week break. So, but in the meantime, there is homework. Homework means what? No, not homework. But if you want some extra classes, you can follow the Atlanta Vedanta Week, which is also there, and the timings are all there on the website. You can listen to those there, and that would also be nice. You're also welcome to come there if you want. So, serious study there going on, so that you are welcome to come there as well. So, any other questions about what we studied or anything so far? No questions? Yes.
It's not a question, it's a comment. I can't imagine any value in this universe at all unless it is Ishvara.
Right.
So I can't imagine that putting Ishvara as the doer would be interim, because it would drain all value out of everything for me if he were not the substance and the prime mover of this universe.
Yes. No, that is but what is the connection with the doer?
Maybe I must have misunderstood either the scripture or what you said, that Ishvara is the non-doer.
No. Ishvara is the non-doer, correct? No, akarta, correct, non-doer. Non-doer means what? The doership is as though, because what is done is as though. So this is as though, correct? So we can't take this for real. We saw why this is not real, because the is of the flower belongs to Ishvara, correct? And so the flower is a name and form and a word and the meaning, correct? And then if we look into who, this is not easy, this is very tough, very difficult. So we have to go very slowly with this. It's
Okay.
not, it is, you have the correct question, and it takes a little while to bend the understanding around it. So we can appreciate this flower as a name and form. Forget the even flower, we can take something else, like an ornament. The ornament is nothing but gold. It's an expression of gold, correct? Yeah. It's an expression of gold. And how did it come to being? Let us say, because of the jeweler. The jeweler used his intelligence and the gold, which is the material, to bring about this change, a so-called change. But really speaking, it's not a change. It's the same gold. The weight of the ornament is the weight of the gold. The color of the ornament is the color of the gold. So really speaking, it's a changeless chain. So the chain that has come about from the gold is changeless. It is really just an expression of gold. So now you take this jeweler, which is the intelligence of the jeweler, and the gold, which is the material, and you fuse it in one being, which is Ishvara. Abhinna nimitta upadana karanam. So in this one being is in repose both the intelligence and the power, correct? And the matter. The matter is also him, her, and the material is her, and then the intelligence is him. Same thing. It's one and the same. So this jeweler, who is the gold, morphs himself because of his own Shakti, as it were, into various beings, moving and unmoving. Are you with me up till now?
Yes.
Yes. So into various beings, moving and unmoving. Alright. So if you are up till now with me, then there is no problem. So then this, so all the things in this universe are non-separate from this being, this conscious sentient being, Ishvara. But then each and everything in the universe, while it is non-separate from Ishvara, you cannot say, you can say flower is Ishvara, but Ishvara is not the flower. That is the second thing to understand. Because if Ishvara is the flower, then is this flower, then what about this flower? This flower will be devoid of Ishvara, devoid of the presence of Ishvara. So this flower is Ishvara, this flower is Ishvara. What is Ishvara? Neither this flower nor this flower. So what is really Ishvara? The isness in the flower. The isness, the truth, the presence in the flower. So then what is it that Shakti that constitutes this morphing of that isness into flowerness? Right? Yeah, that is what is called Maya. That Shakti is Maya and that doing is as though. Because really speaking, this is non-separate from Ishvara. So it is not separate at all, but still I see it as separate and I deal with it as separate. That's why I am saying I am holding two flowers in the hand, and now we will change to pots. So now I am saying I am holding two pots in the hand from the standpoint of pot, but from the standpoint of clay, how many clays? One clay. So who made this into a pot? So the doing is mithya. This is what we call mithya. It's a dependent, projected reality which is confusing because that is the nature, that is her nature. If you are confused, Maya has done her job. That's all it is. Prakriti is doing what she was employed to do. This is what is called avarna. She puts a veil of ignorance on the person's own nature. She divests the person, makes them go far away from their own nature. And then what else does she do? She uses a projective power to make each thing separate. Vikshepa Shakti, Avarna Shakti. This is the twofold power of Maya that keeps one in confusion. So if you are confused, Maya is working. So how to get out of the confusion? I have to just say as though, as though, as though. So the doing is as though, the potness is as though, it's all clay. It's all, the ornamentation is as though, it's all gold. And the jiva is as though, it's all Ishvara. So the interim problem, the interim thing was suggested that it's very difficult to see oneself as a non-doer while still going to work and while still cooking, cleaning, while taking care of everything. How can you say I'm the How can you say that? I'm not doing. Who is doing? Come on, And that could be a very good excuse not to pay the bills. I am akarta. I don't do anything. This is madness. So therefore, until one gets there cognitively, you have to say I'm doing something. And then when you say, until one understands this as though business totally, one has to have, just like, even though everything is Ishvara, we still have a prayer room, correct? Where the Shakti, where the power of Ishvara is concentrated at an altar, so it becomes an effective altar for surrender. We still have that. So then the same argument we can say, if Ishvara is everywhere, why do I need to pray in this particular place at this particular time? We need that. Why? Because we are unable to see the truth of that magnificence, the glory of Ishvara everywhere. We are unable to see. So therefore we need a reminder of having that one particular form consecrated to be divine. Not that other things are less divine, but here I have that power concentrated in this particular form, so I relate to the form, because you cannot relate to the formless. How are you going to relate to the formless? You say, hi formless, that's a form, okay? So this is the problem. So therefore, we have a little trick of getting out of this Maya and this doership by saying Ishvara is the doer. It's a little trick that is deployed.
Kayena vacha, we say.
Yes, exactly. Everything is given up to you. Tvaya samarpitam, Maya samarpitam, I have given up everything. I have done all this. There are full of mistakes, and you are the doer. And you are the doer becomes my mantra and prayer as I go through life. I'm not doing, Bhagavan is doing. Let me be a hollow bamboo so that I can be the instrument. In every religion they say this actually. And then what? When the karma phala comes, then also I say that Bhagavan has sent this. So I get into a place of acceptance. My own raga dveshas do not reign. So this is how, that is what I mean by interim person, meaning that Bhagavan is myself alone, really. But here, just like you have a temple where the power and the energy is consecrated in a particular way so that it's easy to relate. Here also I attribute the doership from my ego onto Bhagavan. You take care of it. Yeah, it's just a strategy. It's called Karma Yoga. And there is a question online. Will any classes be online from Cleveland and Detroit? I don't think Cleveland. Detroit, I will give you the email of the person in charge. You can talk to them. He's quite technically, savvy, so he might be able to do that. Yeah, for Jiva, Ishvara merging, we are attending Vedanta class. No, because they were never separate to begin with, so there is no merging going on. Merging can happen with two entities that are separate, but here there is no merging. Yeah, there is no merging, there is only purging of the of the ignorance. So we are here not to merge, we are here to purge ourselves from the notion that we need to merge. Okay? Yeah. See, very difficult. I don't blame anybody. That's why this Upanishad is beautiful. It does its job. Yeah. So we go slowly. No hurry. What is the hurry? Any other questions? Okay.